Okay, good morning, everybody. So, we got change of schedule. Very cold outside today. And so today, I guess there's so much coming out, you guys. Everything's coming out. So, yep, everything is coming out. Wow, Kike, morning. I took him out this morning, man. It is cold. Very cold. Not going nowhere today. And yeah, just a change of schedule. I found so much, all the stuff's coming out, and we got to go one day at a time, one show at a time, and I got to just try not to overdo myself. I do have time with Chico. He's happy all the time. Yeah, okay. What's Ariel? She covered up. We got safe travel for Aunt Karen's going to be going to Texas today for somebody's wedding. Someone's getting married. I can't remember who it was, but I think Chicago was getting bad weather at the airport. So I don't know if she's going to get tied up at the airport or not. Spaz, wake up, Spaz. I got a big video for you. If you saw my headline, I typed in, we got a 2 hour smell big video, you guys. Something, she must have gotten some big information if it's 2 hours. So everybody have their caffeine with you this morning. She must have gotten some big information though. I don't think she's never had a 2 hour one, has she, Kay? I don't think she's never had. That's why I'm starting at 10 o'clock for the first show. But I want to do an hour of the short videos, and then after the first hour, I'll do the Mel video. I want to play the two Billy Bean short clips from yesterday. Well, I got two other ones I want to play first. That one lady that does 5D, the 5D stuff. And we got a bunch of DJ Derek Johnson videos too. He's starting to come out with a lot of stuff too now. And the Chicago mayor was on a hearing. I got a clip on that. And Omar and AOC videos. Okay, yeah, got a hold of JJ on Telegram. She said you're right. She's been busy. I told her tell Kay and everything. So hopefully she will come in today.
This is serious. They are here.
I know everybody's at work. Hopefully they're going to be able to listen today. You're the only one to chat so far, Kay. Yep, happy St. Patrick's Day. Oh, and everybody. All right, let's get this going here. So I'm gonna do those two short ones, and then the two Billy short ones, and then I might do the Chicago mayor one. Oh, I also got a new Nick Shirley California time. Benny Johnson has one on Nick. He did it again. Oh, why is that doing that?
Beings called Vs. This is their message. I would like to say that we are in process of aligning you all with your 5D reality. We know that much of the information that we share with you is quite technical, but we want you to know that changes are being made and frequencies are being adjusted before your 5D New Earth experience. We come to you today to let you know about upcoming changes upon your planet that will result in more chaos ensuing. We know these happenings are detrimental to the welfare of humanity at this point, and this is the reason for the sudden change for advancing the shifting of humanity to 5D. It is a gradual falling away of the darkness. It is a gradual advancement to your new realities. Many changes will be happening for you all. We see great things ahead in your futures, but know this is something that will take time for your advancements to completely take place in their full extent. You will see many changes. Financial systems will change, government systems will change, the colors in your skies will change. Eventually, you will have a more youthful appearance. You will have a healthier body. You will live in peace and in love with unity consciousness. All of these things await you, As you move further into your new earth realities, soon you will have the life that was always meant to be yours, being in universal peace, living at one with each other and the planet. You will be conscious of the decisions you make as you transverse realities from 3D into the 5D reality. There will be great change for you all. I see many expectations for all of you as you move forward in light. But again, we remind you, this is a process unfolding. And we begin here, now. Your future awaits. We are beasts. We are with you now, and we will be with you on this journey. Thank you for being my voice, and thank you for receiving our messages.
A 5B message that was really important there. One more.
Is a state of consciousness. You arrive there through awareness. The shift from the third dimension to the fifth dimension is the shift from survival to alignment, from fear to understanding, from reaction to conscious creation. When someone begins living in this state, certain signs appear in their life. The first sign is inner calm without external reason. In the third dimensional mindset, peace depends on circumstances. But when consciousness expands, peace no longer waits for conditions. It becomes internal. Even in chaos, something inside you remains still. You observe life rather than being consumed by it. The second sign is detachment from drama. You begin noticing how much of the world runs on unconscious emotional reactions. Arguments, competition, jealousy, comparison. These patterns once felt normal, but as awareness rises, you feel less interested in participating. Not because you're superior, but because you see clearly that most conflict comes from unhealed ego patterns. The third sign is heightened intuition. Decisions become easier. You start sensing what is right before logic explains it. You feel when something aligns with your path and when something drains your energy. It is not magic. It is the mind becoming quiet enough to hear the
That was weird. Oh, that's how it ended. That was a short little one there. Important one. Okay, two short ones from yesterday.
Welcome to Truth by Billy Bean.
10
Flash
minutes
update.
on this one.
Today's date, March 16, 2026. Time in Texas about 3 p.m. Today in space weather, we had an unexpected M 2.7 class flare that did produce a CME that's going to impact the Earth March 19, producing a G1 to G2 geomagnetic storm. Some of the things we'll cover today: Canada, spy and disarm, Ayatollah number 2, rumors, and President Trump. Well, all righty. This will be fun. So let's get started. So I've been bringing out that Canada is in the process of trying to disarm its citizens, and that Canada's also prepping the CCP to bivouac in Canada. That's not going to turn out to be good for Canada, I don't think. So Canada also had put forth a bill C9, and that was to take away free speech from Canadian citizens, impacting also churches. Now they have a new bill, C22, and this is for stores to store all of their metadata on their customers, like in-house cameras, where did they go, what day they were there, all the customers' private data, how did they pay, when did they pay, what did they buy, for the stores to store that data for up to a year. And it's called the Lawful Access Bill. So the Canadian government can also get private data on its citizens, spy and disarm. Now, I have a Patriot subscriber from Canada, and she said, we have plenty of guns, and we are not giving them up. So I say, way to go, Canada. A lot of places in Canada are wilderness where people actually need firearms, not only to defend themselves against human critters, but also, wild critters like bears and wolves and so on. So, yeah, I expect that the Canadian people will push back hard on that. Now, Ayatollah number 2 in Iran. First we heard he was hit on February 28 when his father, Ayatollah number 1, was killed, and that he lost a leg, but went into a coma, has been on a ventilator ever since then. Then we heard, no, he was actually injured March 9, and President Trump said he might be alive, but he's disfigured. And now President Trump, in the last 24 hours, said, where is this guy? Who is it that the U.S. is supposed to negotiate with? So now a new rumor. We have 2 new rumors. U.S. intel brings out that both the Ayatollah number 1 and number 2, it's believed, prefer men to women, and that procreation was done in an unorthodox way, maybe in vitro, who knows? So we have that. Now coming out from Gateway Pundit, and they say their source is Al Jazeera, that Ayatollah number 2 was injured March 9 in a U.S.-Israel strike, and that a Russian plane came in and picked up Ayatollah number 2. He's in Russia, where he has had successful surgery, but no other details. So that's 2 more rumors about the unknown, unheard, and unseen Ayatollah number 2. And we have this. Oh, yeah, President Trump, part of his brilliant strategy to bring down the U.S. number 1 enemy, China. First, take oil away from China via Venezuela. And now he's in the process of depriving China of oil from Iran. And I believe that part of President Trump's strategy to bring down China was also to take away the sanctions on Russian oil to deprive China of that cheap Russian oil. Now, we know that the Russian economy, after 4 years of war in Ukraine, is somewhat on the downside. So Russia needs to make as much money as they can with their oil selling at premium price, which I don't see Russia continuing to sell to China at a reduced price. So that's another punch by President Trump to China. So we have that going on. Now, President Trump has been asking its so-called European allies for them to send warships to the Strait of Hormuz. And he accurately describes the U.S. only gets about 1% of its oil via the Strait of Hormuz from the Middle East. while many nations get a high percentage of their total oil and LNG from that area. We understand China buys 80% of Iran's oil, but China has been buying oil from Iran. Iran has had sanctions against it also. So China's also been buying cheap oil from Iran, which we see is also coming to an end. The government, the mullahs, clerics, ayatollahs, the IRGC are all going to be neutralized. There will be a transitional government assisted by the US, and then a democratic form of government. And then sanctions will be removed from Iran so they can sell their oil at premium prices, depriving China in the future also of cheap oil from Iran. So right now we see no oil flowing across the Strait of Hormuz. President Trump has asked European allies for them to send warships there to assist in the oil flow, which benefits their nations. And guess who said, no thanks, we can't do that. We can't send warships. Well, it might be dangerous. Okay, so no help from Italy, Spain, Japan, the UK, South Korea, the Netherlands, France, Norway, Canada, Australia, Germany, and China. And so guess what? President Trump says, well, all righty. So these so-called European allies, I think you'll see in the future what all righty means. We may see a much more current view of what President Trump's all righty can mean for China, because now we're hearing that President Trump is either going to postpone or cancel his trip to China scheduled for March 31 to April 2, which Xi, who politically is in a weak position in China, desperately needs President Trump to make that trip to shore up the prestige of Xi, who we understand likely could be replaced in the near future. This is because Xi has broken the chain of command in the Chinese military, and Xi has also alienated the CCP. So, okay, that's all going on. And now we have this. We have that, So I believe President Trump lifting the sanctions on Russian oil benefits nations, benefits Russia, but it also deprived China of cheap Russian oil. And we have this going on. Yeah, so President Trump now considers canceling his trip to China. So that's going on. This concludes my flash. I love you, and I'll see you soon.
Okay, that's from yesterday. I got a second one from yesterday. It's 12 minutes.
In 2026, I'm in Texas about 9 p.m. A flash update. What's up with President Trump's trip to China? And where is Ayatollah number 2? And we're hearing that China is still providing intel to Iran. So that's going on. Let's get started. So we have that in Iran, it's believed that a IRGC Quds Division General, Carney, has been arrested by the IRGC
Change the plan.
for leaking information about the meeting attended by Ayatollah number 1, Ayatollah number 2, the IRGC top generals on February 28. So this Quds IRGC general has been arrested. And it's coming forth that he had leaked information to the U.S. and Israel about the meeting, location, time, and so forth. And the intel that went to the IRGC that resulted in his arrest, we believe, in the past 24 hours, came from China. And now we have this from U.S. intel. The U.S. and Israel plan to massively escalate the conflict in Iran for at least the next month. President Trump, therefore, has postponed his trip to China for at least a month. I submit this. If China continues to provide intel to Iran that enables Iran to know and have secrets about the U.S. and Israel's conflict with Iran, that President Trump may never go to China. And we're hearing inside China, China's economy is falling apart. China now is hoarding inside China U.S. dollars, and export businesses inside China, they export their goods out to foreign nations from China. The foreign nation pays the Chinese company, but the Chinese companies are not bringing that money back into China. They're instead having it deposited in foreign banks. So it sounds like the business owner.
Can someone check the update on the fire in New York City? HBAC fire is rising over the New York City parade. Wonder what's going on there.
Inside China want some escape money when things go from bad to worse inside China. And we have this. Yeah, China is trying to hoard U.S. dollars inside China. Therefore, China is taking all the U.S. dollars out of its going around inside China by Chinese people. So the Chinese government is hoarding U.S. dollars. Maybe they think the U.S. dollar is stronger than the yuan. So that's going on. And we have this.
Ever heard of a cherry tree that bears fruit in just 2 months? This is the latest breakthrough by Yale University and the U.S.
Alexander Makarus. He's an English journalist, and he has information about a group of representatives for French President Macron going to Russia to ask President Putin to intervene on behalf of Russia with Iran so that French ships can pass through the Strait of Hormuz. It's our understanding President Putin ushered the French group out of Russia. And now we have this. almost blatant confirmation that regarding Ayatollah number 2, Mustafa Khamenei. It does appear now that he was injured February 28. We have from another source, 2CTV, that on Iranian TV, we had an IRGC representative say that Ayatollah number 2 was outside the building that was hit February 28. He was like going out for a smoke outside the building. However, he was injured. Now, many reports appear to validate that he did have a leg amputated, but now it's coming out February 28. It does appear, or the next day maybe, he was evac'd from Iran to Moscow. And a further plank to support this position is that today, Peskov, the spokesperson for the Russian government, was asked, is the Ayatollah number 2, Mustafa Khamenei, in Moscow? And Peskov would neither deny nor say it's true. So that does appear to validate the many rumors that are now coming out of Russia that yes, Ayatollah number 2, Mustafa Khamenei, is in Moscow. We understand he had successful surgery, but we don't know what the surgery was for. Maybe President Trump can find out the details via a phone call with President Putin. So that's going on. And we have this. Now it's coming out that President Trump, we know the plan for Iran is to neutralize the mullahs, clerics, ayatollahs, the IRGC, and so on, to neutralize those individuals inside Iran, then bring in a transitional government, most likely headed up by Reza Pahlavi. So Reza Pahlavi today on US TV put out a message to the people of Iran and introduced his transitional team. He has a transition team to put in a new type of government in Iran as soon as this predicted escalation by the U.S. and Israel takes place. So that's going on.
4 minutes.
And we have this. We have from Redacted Today interviewed a Professor Maradi. He is Iranian and he teaches inside Iran at a university. And it is my perspective that he is putting forth propaganda, which of course would be a reasonable thing for him to do if he wants to continue to live in Iran under the current Islamic regime. And he says, and I'll put this forth, the U.S. military, since this conflict began February 28, has made over 7,000 strikes in Iran. They have taken out over 20,000 targets. They have destroyed 100 Iranian Navy ships, and they have destroyed 30 mine-laying boats, which are usually like speed boats. Now, Professor Maradi says, oh, that didn't even hurt, and we know they've taken out many missile locations, launcher locations, drone manufacturing locations, and so on. Professor Maradi says, oh, well, that didn't hurt Iran. They have underground storage areas where they have, for the past 9 months, been hiding 100 speedboats that they can use to mine the Strait of Hormuz. Well, thank you, Professor Maradi, for that intel. And we have this in Cuba, because we know Cuba's also on the U.S. hit list. Today, Cuba has total blackout. Not even the government has electricity. And we have this, that we know the U.S. has put in place an embargo on Cuba and sanctions on any nation selling oil to Cuba. Therefore, Cuba is getting no oil. Mexico tried to send some, and President Trump said no. It did not go. Russia tried to send some. The U.S. Navy rebuffed that Russian ship. Cuba has not had oil since the U.S. took out Maduro in Venezuela. So now Cuba is in a total blackout. Not even the government has electricity. President Trump has certain things he wants from Cuba. He wants them to release political prisoners. He wants a new form of government there. And recently on Truth Social, President Trump intimated that the U.S. may make a friendly takeover to Cuba. So that concludes my flash. I love you, and I'll see you soon.
Okay, two good ones from yesterday's, Billy, that came out late. I didn't have time to play. So, did you guys see the clip on a couple clips we got with Margie Taylor with Megyn Kelly? Margie Taylor did something again. I don't know what. This one will be about 3 minutes, and then we'll do the 10-minute Chicago mayor. But I want to share this real quick. Show this photo here. Does anybody can figure this one out? Tim, you know anything about this? 17 power of the star of the MAGI. 17 is fortune number. And 1 plus 7 equals 8. So I don't know what that was. I don't know if anybody would know anything about that. So 3 minutes on the next one. Ah.
You can't lie that away to the American people. And so, you know how I feel right now? I am irate I am furious about this. We are nearly $40 trillion in debt. How much is this war going to cost us? We have seen enough of our American troops dead and murdered for foreign countries. And now we've had 4 dead and murdered, just like you said, for Israel and for the Iranian people, not for the American people. And I don't want to see any more dead and murdered. Our military is filled with some of the greatest people from our country. And God bless their families who are probably losing their minds right now, terrified that their son or daughter or their husband or wife or brother or sister may come home in a flag draped coffin. And then we have the president who, by the way, Megan, this really needs to be said. Donald Trump has said repeatedly on camera and in interviews, he doesn't think he's going to heaven. Well, I want to ask a question, a serious question. What is in his mind? What is his mental state? If he doesn't think he's going to heaven and he is a man towards the end, he's in the 4th quarter, he's towards the end of his life. How does that pan out for the rest of us when we have a president of the United States who doesn't think and is convinced he's not going to heaven? What does that mean his decision making is? He already said to the New York Post today that he doesn't care about the polling. He doesn't care about what the American people think, and he may put troops on the ground. He took this is going to be a few-day war, to now it's going to be maybe 4 weeks or more. I want to say, what is happening to the man that I supported, you supported, the man that denounced what happened in Iraq, the man that said no more foreign wars, no more regime change, promised it on the campaign. J.D. Vance promised it. Tulsi Gabbard promised it. All of them promised it. And we're a year in, and we're in another fucking war, and we've got American troops being killed. I think it's time for America to rip the Band-Aid off, and we need to have a serious conversation about what the fuck is happening to this country and who in the hell are these decisions being made for, and who is making these decisions.
I want to stop right there because Megyn Kelly's going to respond in just a second, and that'll tee us up for the final clip. But you can see she's surprised there. She's trying to stay stone-faced, but Marjorie Taylor Greene is going scorched earth in ways we've simply never seen her before. She's directly addressing and condemning Trump's spirituality. She, of course, is a conservative Christian. She's pointing out that Donald Trump is not going to heaven and admitting that Trump himself has admitted that he's not going to heaven. She's questioning his mental state, suggesting that he's a puppet president, not actually making the decisions. She'll go on to suggest that he's a liar. She is, and also rightly criticizing J.D. Vance, Tulsi Gabbard, and others who proclaimed that they would be a departure from the neocon era of President Reagan.
Definitely started this.
Okay, that was an important video to get out. All right, 10-minute May, everyone, and I'm going to start the Mel video, you guys. It's going to be 2 hours.
Players get 300 bonus.
Would you and wife Stacy be willing to cut your security detail from 150 sworn police officers and put those police officers back on the street where they can protect real Chicagoans?
And we're back, y'all. Thank you for watching today. Go ahead and hit that like button, my people. You know that it helps us out a ton. And of course, it helps you because it helps us keep bringing you these stories every day. Now, y'all, recently, over the past 2 days or so, your boy, the illustrious sub 10% approval rating mayor of Chicago, Brandon Brandy Boy Johnson, he's been dragged through the mud, y'all, as Chicago continues to see violence. Apparently, the violence is down, but still way too much. Still one of the most violent cities in the country. And people are dragging him because he has apparently, y'all, reportedly, a 150 officer security detail, y'all. You're going to see a reporter call him out about that here in this video. 150 cops guarding this guy and his family, and it's costing the city over $20 million per year just to guard him, y'all. We're also going to see a tragic story, y'all, where Chicago PD was chasing, I guess, probably a criminal, and a lady wound up dead And then they tried to cover it up, y'all. And now Chicago's going to have to pay her family $27 million. And then to top it all off, we're going to be taking a look at how the governor of the state of Illinois, poor Chicago is in that state, how he is using his billions of dollars to influence the Democratic Party, y'all. But it's going to be a quick, tight video, y'all. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it.
Mayor Johnson, real Chicagoans tell me that they're disturbed that you would spin multiple mass shootings over the 4th of July weekend as some kind of victory for your policies. River North, second worst, brutal mass shooting, made the St. Valentine's Day massacre look like child's play. Obviously, people are asking how could you, after not one, not two, not three, but 4 mass shootings, go to NASCAR, put on the NASCAR costume, and grin for the cameras?
We work hard every single day to ensure that people are safe in this city. Any shooting, any homicide is one too many. And as we continue to work collectively with our shared responsibility to ensure maximum safety for all of Chicagoans, our work is never finished.
Here on X, Officer Lou posts, bombshell. Leaked documents show Mayor Brandon Johnson's security detail equals 150 CPD officers, costing taxpayers $22.5 million per year in salaries alone, likely over $30 million with overtime and gear. Yet he swears Chicago is a safe city. It's safe for him, maybe. Hypocrisy level expert. Chicagoans are furious.
If you truly believe that Chicago is the safest city, and unlike people around the country who are saying that Chicago is the mass shooting capital of the country now,
just to follow up,
would you and your wife Stacy be willing to cut your security detail from 150 sworn police officers and put those police officers back on the street where they can protect real Chicagoans?
So we're very proud of the work that we're doing collectively to ensure that our police officers have the resources that they need. As I've said repeatedly, it's policing and affordable housing, is policing and youth employment, is policing and mental and behavioral health care services. It's going to take all of us, the business community, the philanthropic community. We're working collectively with Cook County government, the state of Illinois, the state's attorney as well.
Now, y'all, I know that probably the vast majority of Chicago cops are good people. If you're guarding if you're guarding old Brandy boy, I'm sure you probably wish you had a different assignment. But Chicago cops, I'm on your side. I know y'all have a hard job, but in any group, y'all, you're gonna find some bad apples. And that's definitely the case in this next story, this next Chicago-based story, where the cops contributed to a car crash that resulted in a mother's death and then tried to cover it up, y'all. And then this is the really dirty part, in my opinion. Not only was there a cover-up, but once the family sued, they won a $10 million verdict, which Chicago appealed. They're like, yo, we ain't paying y'all out. We're not paying y'all. Just watch what happened with this, y'all. Eventually, the family got $27 million because of more Chicago incompetence.
This is something we almost never see. The city wins an appeal for a new trial and then changes its mind because the risk is even greater now. Why? Newly discovered evidence that first jury never heard. And now the city's offering $27 million to make this case go away.
It's been 8.5 years since our mom's been gone. To you guys, that's numbers, but to us, that's lost memories that we could have.
Kimberlyn Myers had just finished a singing event in Indiana, and her mom, Stacy Vaughn Harrell, was driving her home when this police chase was developing near them. Myers says her mom would be alive if Chicago police officers in hot pursuit would have used their emergency lights and sirens to warn them, because out of nowhere, a white SUV fleeing police struck them, killing her mom and trapping her in the car.
She would have been here. You guys would have just turned on your sirens or something. She would have been here, but you guys didn't.
A jury heard the case in 2023 and gave the family the $10 million verdict. The city didn't want to pay and wanted to appeal for a new trial. But since then, new evidence has surfaced, allegations of a cover-up.
What
happened that day was not the work of heroes. It was the work of cowboys who decided they were not only going to pursue a vehicle in violation of department policy, they decided they were going to cover it up.
So take a look at how these Chicago cops tried to cover up their dirty deeds. And this is with a woman who's in the car who is either already dead or who's dying, y'all.
Newly hired lawyers for the family handling the lawsuit say they found officers on the scene failed to activate their body cameras or turn them off. And 2 officers who did turn their body cameras on waited critical moments to help the victims.
The cover-up was wide. The cover-up was systemic. The cover-up was not part of the first trial, but will be in the second.
And then finally, y'all, just to round out our Illinois-based coverage today, take a look at old billionaire J.B. Pritzker, y'all, throwing his weight around, pun intended, throwing his weight around, basically single-handedly moving the Democratic Party in his state, y'all. The guy's a billionaire. He's throwing millions around like it's nothing. And many lawmakers, including the Congressional Black Caucus, are calling him out for that.
Now, with days before the primary, the Pritzker influence is still a big issue in this contest. Any promises made to get endorsements for her?
I don't know what you mean, promise.
Governor J.B. Pritzker is asked about his efforts to win endorsements from members of the Illinois congressional delegation for his candidate for Senate, Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton.
You know what I mean. Yeah,
You're talking about, I don't know what you're implying is not something I have ever been engaged in.
NBC5 spoke to multiple members of the Illinois Democratic delegation who say Pritzker and his team have made it clear they should only publicly support Stratton. In fact, one member who planned to endorse Robin Kelly was talked out of that decision by Senator Tammy Duckworth. Instead, Stratton was endorsed. The Congressional Black Caucus recently voiced their displeasure, saying, quote, a sitting governor shouldn't be heavy-handing the race. Quite frankly, his behavior in this race won't soon be forgotten. It isn't just Kelly. Other elected officials were told by Pritzker surrogates, quote, do not go with Raja.
No one has supported, that I'm aware of, has supported Raja Krishnamurthy that is among our congressional delegation.
Pritzker, a billionaire, has generously supported Democratic candidates up and down the ticket. Stratton has received $6 million from the governor and his cousin, but elected officials who asked not to be named for fear of retaliation say the governor and his surrogates have gone too far.
So yeah, y'all, I've always heard that Chicago politics are dirty, that the corruption runs deep. And I guess I didn't have that many examples until I started covering the city. Chicagoans, listen, I would say, who you're going to vote for next time, but it seems like this type of corruption goes back, the entire history of the city. So I don't know. Maybe it's not about the vote, y'all. I don't know what's going on. What's the solution, people? What's the solution? If it's not the vote, what is the solution? Anybody have any ideas? If you have an idea, drop it down below. Drop a comment, but before.
Okay, I thought that was an important video there from Chicago. He does a good job on his intel. All right, have your beverage nearby, you guys. This will probably end the show, and I'll be back at 6 o'clock with a bunch of others. I'll be up late watching the USA baseball team tonight for the gold medal game, so we'll save the other long stuff for tonight. But this is a big video. I don't think Mel had never had a 2-hour video before. Hopefully we'll get it. Thanks, Kim. Oh, come on. Oh. What the heck? I gotta wait here for a minute. See what I can do here. Ah. Oh, I had it. Darn it.
Here is that what's very interesting is that I was actually on a very important call with one of our CM calls on my actual phone, and I couldn't hear her. What has happened, I've just realised, ladies and gentlemen, is that they've actually put this. I had my headphones on last night and it has not disengaged, even though there's no headphones. So I do apologise for that. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are good to go. Thank goodness we got that sorted, because I only spent 40 minutes doing that. It's 11:11 here in Australia. Wow, the angels are singing to us, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go through, it was really very interesting,
Okay, Ken, I'll be back at
messages that that I did receive this morning. And yesterday was a very, very big day. So what happened yesterday is that I got to speak to some many different people, but one of the ones I want to talk to you about is how there's a lot of things that go on in the background that people we don't see them. So basically what's happening is that countries are going into what we call military lockdown. One of those countries, of course, is Egypt. Why is that important in this whole currency reset? Well, because Egypt is the gateway for the Iraqi road development that we've been talking about or hearing about, especially from those fantastic people that do a great job like militiamen and things like that as well. And they talk about this big development road that goes through. Well, it goes through Europe, through Egypt as well. Egypt is the big forefront, of course, for electricity, gas, water, and everything, not just for Egypt, but for, of course, Africa, the Middle East, and, of course, go through to Europe. So this is why for many years I have actually focused quite a lot on Egypt, because it is one of those very important countries. They were actually one of the first countries. I'm not sure if people would remember this far back or remember seeing this video, but this video was one that was taken at night time. It was quite funny, where they received all of their mummies and all their jewelry or their gold or their assets and things like that were returned to Egypt during COVID. I think it might have been even during COVID, the whole scamdemic times. So understand that that was the first part of Jassara. So I remember that specifically, and it always stuck with me that that was our first initial sign of Jassara actually occurring. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is very important. Why I said that Egypt has now officially gone into locking down all of their borders. They're not in lockdown. What I'm saying is that the military obviously have control of that border. If you were to look at the map, so to speak, that is a huge area, Egypt, okay? Just remembering too that back in the 1950s, Egypt was a very subtropical nation. It was not the sandy loam that you see today. So think about those things as well. But one of the things that I saw, there was an article that was posted for Mel to discuss. So we'll talk about that and then we'll go straight into the Q&A. But I wanted to talk about the, I took a screenshot of it. Okay, so now I've got to find this darn screenshot on my phone. But it was regarding the Japanese bonds and things like that as well. So, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I think they're messing with all of my phones and everything because it's just so ironic that phones and tablets are not working. It's different when there's only one. But anyway, so we're going to talk about the Japanese article that was put up. So let's go through that. The question for Mel is the 316 discussion. We are seeing the USD and the Japanese currency exchange rate at 159, which is at or near the 40-year all-time high. What goes up must come down, okay? So, yes, it is at their high. And just remembering, too, that a lot of the currencies, even as I said the other day in another group, was the Lebanese pound was $5 to 1 sterling pound, okay? So even Lebanon had a very, very strong currency. Okay, so that's where they're heading. This is to do the reset as well. That's telling me if you were to remove the 3 zeros and this, that, and all the rest of it, the 159 could be 159 where it was sitting. Again, we're coming close to that level playing field. The Bank of Japan now once anchored free money, and that was free money. Now long bonds are exploding. What are long bonds? Long bonds are those that are 30-year. Oh, yeah, it says I should keep reading. Long bonds are exploding. 30-year Japanese government bond yields are at 3.48%, which is 2026 versus zero era before. To explain that, what's happened over the time is, of course, if we remember, go back into those who can remember back in the 1980s, for instance, or late 70s, early 80s, we had this insurgent, didn't we, of all the Japanese manufacturers came in and everything was made in Japan. It wasn't made in China, it was made in Japan. I hope some of you can remember that, showing my age. But, and that's how they made their money, was through the tariffs and or the taxes, so to speak, of their imports and exports and things like that as well. So that's why there was a zero era before. That's just one of those examples. The Bank of Japan is scheduled on March 19th, to make a decision on increasing their interest rates. Now, we're seeing this across the board. I think there was an article yesterday regarding the Fed and everything else. So they haven't got a lot of room to move. If they increase the interest rates, that also affects the citizens for having purchasing power and that as well. So they'll probably keep them on hold, which can cause another unwinding crisis. Yeah, exactly. To the $20 trillion in carry trades. Again, this is why we talk about the trading markets so much and how important it is with countries that are trading, especially at the moment with Vietnam. We're seeing some more deals coming through there because, as I said, if you increase the interest rates, it affects the buying purchasing power for the citizens. So it unbalances the balance, so to speak. Remains the largest holder of US Treasury. Well, isn't that interesting? They're holding $1.2 trillion as their bond and currency markets continue to face potential catastrophic volatility, and they certainly will. Japan was always going to be the one that we sort of watch the Asian markets. So that's why CM and I often talk about we're going to be interested to see what happens in the Asian markets on the Sundays, because that's what we want to be following, because that is going to be the crash, hence the Mr. Pool dominoes effect.
I think
So the Iran war is now further weighing on Japan's declining economy. Again, it's because of these trade deals that they have. And understand there's a lot of deals that happen in the background with governments. And as I have always stated, this also affects the currency rates as well. Hence why when I talk about the rates being part of the preferential rates. These preferential rates are basically when two governments come together and they're doing a trade deal, they will set a preferential rate between those two countries based upon the amount of trade to benefit each other. So that's why I say trade deals are so important. So when there is war on, it reduces the amount of outflow from that country, which is, we're talking about Japan at this point in time. But Japan hasn't got the outflow to send to places like the Middle East. And of course, watch the water. All of the blockages in the Red Sea are also relevant as well. So do you see Japan as the first major domino to fall, impacting the global markets, as Mr. Poole's tweet boldly predicted back in 2022? And as I said, we often watch the Asian markets as they come on board on Sunday. So that's all I wanted to talk about today. Do apologise again, and I thank you very much for everyone's patience for waiting for me to sort that little technical issue out. So thank you. So we can rock and roll, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, we're always patient. You know, anybody that's been doing this, we know anything can happen at any moment. So, for instance, if for some reason the chat goes down, just come back on. We'll put it back up somehow. So, thanks again, Mel, for appreciate you coming on, gracing us with your presence and your knowledge and your truth. I said that before, but you know, it's harder and harder to find people that have truth. You know, after you've been doing this for some time, you start out believing everybody. And that really has got dwindled down to maybe a handful of people. And I have to say, you are one of them. So thank you for coming on our channel and speaking with us. So what we'll do, that was Tom from New Jersey's question on the wall. And I don't see any other questions on the wall, so we can go ahead and start live questions from the chat. If anybody doesn't want to speak, they can write the questions on the wall and I will get to them.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. Questions for Mel. Well, I will ask you one and we'll get it started because I cannot believe all these people are shy. I know some of these people. They are definitely not shy. They speak their mind and their heart. So
I have a question for Mel when you're done, Wildflower.
Okay, give me 1 second, Mike. Thank you. So if a person was to, they have a little bit of money or a lot of money and they want to invest in foreign currency. I'm just going to speak it out here and ask the question. And what would you advise at this time? What currencies would that you feel would be a good investment going forward for the RV that's coming up?
Not financial advice, but I'd stick to the dong to start with. Indonesian rupiah would be my second choice. And my third choice after that would probably be the Iranian rial if you can get it. So that's my three choices. But yeah, so.
Yeah, that Iranian rial, it's a booger trying to find. I haven't been able to locate it.
Yes, I know. That's why I said if you can get it. I know that someone was scouting around, and again, like I said, I think they must have found a pallet or something like that, and someone grabbed the pallet and it disappeared within hours of that being released. So yeah, so.
Thank you for
but that's my first three types. That's okay, darling. So Mr. Mike. That's okay, honey. MKS, how are you?
Hello, Mel. I'm doing well. I'm speaking to you from St. Louis, Missouri.
Woo-wee.
The show me state.
Yes.
I have a really important question for you, Mel. I hope you're ready for this. On June 19th at 2 p.m., the United States is playing Australia in the World Cup. And I was wondering if you'd be willing to bet your favorite beverage on the game. Of course, I'm taking the U.S.
Oh boy, have I got goosebumps, MKS. Because funny story. I'm pretty good in that betting arena, and I'm going to say it's going to be 1-0, and that will be an extra time. So there you go. That's my prediction. So.
And you're taking Australia, I assume?
No, USA. It will be
USA.
Okay.
You're betting on the USA.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I agree with you. So I'll buy you your favorite beverage anyway.
Too easy, honey.
Thank you.
There's a bit more to that story, ladies and gentlemen. So I know, Mike was just seeing where I would go with that. So thank you, Mike. Appreciate you. I really do. My pleasure, darling. So DD, what's happening? I saw you unmuted yourself a second ago. So all eyes are on you. So no, must have gone and had a cup of tea or something.
Well, I remember a couple of calls back, Mel, that you had mentioned if anyone wanted to ask who's playing DJT, you would answer that question. So here goes.
Okay, let's go. Who is playing DJT? I don't know. It's a tough one. I mean, so many different. So let's go back. Let's have a look at this in a different perspective, because I did this the other day with someone. So back in 2017.
I don't know how somebody got a number from mine and it rang. I normally block my unknown calls. I just got a call from Valenzuela. That's strange. I had Spain before, but not Venezuela.
Back in 2017, so I've been doing a lot of timeline things. So thank you, Mike, for the timeline story. So let's go back in time. In 2017, you would have to say that if it was possibly the DJT, and a lot of people believe that it was, that they saw him in person. I think round one was definitely the closest to what I would say was possibly the DJT. Or someone representing him as close as possible to what we've actually seen prior to all of that. Some people still have the theory that he was killed in a helicopter crash, this, that, and all the rest of it. But as I always said, it's really interesting how these things
It's going to be breaking in.
Play out, because these are Q&As. I don't get to plan anything. It just comes out. So let's go back and have a look at what we call time travel or time changes. Is it possible that he, being DJT, possibly changed the timeline or the deja vu kind of stuff to be still alive? Who knows? Did he die in the crash? We will really not know that truth. And I don't know even if this is going to transpire, as in who is actually in control. We've had some interesting developments this week, because I actually did another call with someone. I think it might have been the two boys actually from Canada, and we were discussing something around the Rothschilds family. Now, here's an interesting fun fact. there's always a black sheep in the family, isn't there? So I want you to take a deep breath when I share this little bit of story. So we are talking about DJT here, but just remember he was influenced or had influential contacts, that being Jeffrey Epstein, this, that, and all the rest of it. I'm curious to see if there was actually a photo of him and, say, Nathaniel Rothschilds. Just putting that out there. Followed Nathaniel Rothschilds for quite some time on what used to be Twitter and is now X. Of course, we should be talking about X payments too, because that's very interesting. That should be coming out later this week, I believe. But let's talk about DJT. Who is playing him? There is many, many clones. There was actually a video I saw the other day about a gentleman who cloned his son as a pilot, and then place those bodies of those pilots inside the planes and this, that, and all the rest of it. So we are playing in a situation where we don't know if DJT is still alive. If he is, some say he's in this. But again, it goes back to what Wildflower said. We've had so many narratives that things have altered and changed. And if you haven't already noticed, things have already altered and changed just recently. So even though we've been going through this process of the awakening, regardless of whether DJT is alive or not, is irrelevant. Who's playing him is kind of irrelevant, because I think it's going to be the case of, like, we're seeing this movie being re-released in front of us, and we're all going, well, that's a bit more information that I didn't see last time. So again, everything has been altered and changed, just as if DJT was alive. Did he change that incident to be alive? Because those first 4 years that he was in, there wasn't as many clones, so to speak, if you want to, or actors, whatever you want to call them. But in this second term, boy, oh boy, take your pick any other day. Is there 15, 20 different actors playing him? I just felt that in that first round, that there wasn't as many alterations to the movie or to him. But this time round, the second time round, good luck on trying to work out who's who in the house. But who is playing him? It's more of a case of who's running the show, because, as I said, it's very interesting when you talk about wars. I touch on quite often about who's actually controlling the narrative. Is it the USA? That's why I said about Nathaniel Rothschilds, because he's been the little dark black sheep in that particular family. And what if he was to come out and say that he was the one who broke the New World Order or broke the World Economic Forum and brought everything out for them to fix it or to take control of it? What if? Who knows? But there is more to that story, but that is a whole 2-hour seminar just on my perspective on the New World Order and this, that, and all the rest of it, because that, ladies and gentlemen, is a shocker. It is shock and awe. And as you know, I always give you different perspectives. It's not my opinion, but I give you different perspectives because I think this whole movie, or whoever is going to play DJT or has been playing him, may not be who you actually think it is. Yes, there's been actors playing multiple roles, and they come in, one the short one, the fat one, the golfer, and this, that, and all the rest of it. But who is actually running the show? That's what I was basically talking about a few weeks ago, is who's actually running the show. Because, as I said, when you understand the full background of the New World Order and how did Ripple get away from the World Economic Forum, we're still seeing them still go to those events, and we get a little confused because we're going, well, why is he still going to the World Economic Forum? And so there's this double confusion. There's almost like this still continued hate purpose thing still running at DJT. But as I said, is he alive? Is he dead? Who knows? Who's playing him? Really don't know, don't care. I want to know who's running the show, because you've got to look at other aspects that I look at when I look at this on a global scale. And it's very easy to focus on the US because it's always about the US. And of course, the storm is actually literally upon all of you. So before I forget to, please stay safe during this storm time as well. But my point being is that there's other countries and many other big world conglomerates outside of the US, such as Russia, who are basically repaying Africa back and things like that as well. So it's very interesting that if you were to look at Africa, for instance, their new second language is Russian. Just putting that out there. So there's many elements to, of course, the language that is spoken by certain ETs, very close to Russian. So there's many different elements to this. So for me, who's playing DJT? It's a real tough one to try and work out because there's, again, like I said, there's so many of them this round through. So we'll see what happens. I mean, everyone's going to have their perspective, aren't they? And sometimes, as I said, we have a conforming bias, and that's what Wildflower was suggesting before. You know, there's been a lot of people that have been in this movement, and when they came in, we it was not our fault, but we engrossed ourselves in all of that. And I'm one of these people, I've sort of kind of sat back and realised that not to get engulfed in certain things, but definitely I was pointing out that, gee, there's a lot more actors, clones, whatever you want to call them, that are out there playing that role, who's actually playing him per se. I'd like to go back to like 2017 or, you know, just prior to that, and rewatch some of those videos, ladies and gentlemen, because it's quite interesting. So, but anyway, we'll see. But I think there's a lot of elements to what's going to come out of it and transpire.
Chico, say hi to
we'll
everybody.
See. We will see who is playing DJT.
Thank you.
Really? Sorry?
Hi, Mel. This is Laura. How are you?
Oh, sorry, Laura. Just hold on a second. DD, what was that, honey?
I was just saying thank you, and that Money X topic would be interesting as well.
Oh, yes, it is. We will get to that one. Don't you worry, honey. We've got plenty of entertainment this evening. But the beautiful Laura, how are you, darling?
I'm good. I was going to ask you to talk about that very same topic since you brought up X payments, because I've been hearing some things, but I want to hear what you have to say about it.
Oh, yeah. I haven't done a lot. I know that, again, this is all playing into the same field, isn't it? So let's talk about the most predominant tokens that we've been keeping an eye on, of course, are XRP, XLM, and XDC. And now we have this X payment, which is very interesting because it ties into, of course, with PayPal, the RL USD. This is this basically creating a brand new platform for everyone to be able to use and utilize. So again, it's taking it back to the people. I believe he's got a banking license. He's going to release that platform, I believe, at the end of this week. Because it has been a week. I think it's been a week. I have had a really, really busy week. So, so let's see what happens with that. But the big point is, of course, we saw Twitter change to X. Is that a coinky dinky? I don't think so. I really don't. And I think it was to draw everyone over to the X or the old Twitter platform. But I do remember early on, I'm just wondering if other people do remember this as well, is that Elon did come out and say to people, stop using the hashtag, the double hashtag, and put what they want so that people are drawn to those acronyms. Well, the hashtag, if you remember back, again, I'm showing my age here, ladies and gentlemen, but this was deemed to be part of when you started with the floppy disk. We always used the hashtag, didn't we, to create an algorithm to create the what we wanted to store on that floppy disk. The reason Elon Musk was focusing when he first, I don't know whether it was just after he purchased Twitter and changed it to X, and he was talking about about please stop using the hashtag. Well, the hashtag was actually connected to the Bitcoin blockchain. So here's another little bit of an education system of why he's utilizing that, why DJT is now mining Bitcoin. It's all to do with this bloody hashtag, which is quite interesting. Because for those who do follow into the Q post, if you don't, it's okay. But have a look for the ones that have the hashtag, and it's relevant to, of course, Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin runs on its own separate blockchain. And when it was nefarious, that's what they would do. They would change the hashtag inside of that transaction to alter the transaction, and that's how the corruption started. So when the, again, actor, whoever he is, of Elon Musk came out and said, stop using the hashtag, he was indicating to all of us that not to utilize the hashtag because it alters the algorithms that they were trying to get you to see. Does that start to make a little bit more sense? So when it comes to the X and the X payments, as I said, this is your one part of your new banking system. That's going to be part of your everyday life. I think it's a lot easier for those who are in the sort of the Z generation. They just embrace things. They don't kind of focus on the conspiracies behind it, and they really don't care about how it was or why it was formed. They just go, oh, this is cool, and they just go ahead and do it. But what happens is if all of us, because we want to know the truth, we have to look into these things a little bit more. So what happens is that this new XPay system is, like I said, is part of the new banking licensing. It's basically giving everything back to we the people, because they certainly do have a huge following. It's a new platform. It's part of the quantum financial system. As I said, this is kind of like the takeover or the restructuring of the old PayPal, which we know also was corrupted slightly, just a little bit. So, yeah, so this is like, so it's going to be very interesting how it plays out and what the platform's really actually going to manifest into, because as I said, a lot of these things, they only give you little snippets. And of course, when it's actually released, there's a lot more things that are available behind all of that. So it's great times to be alive. Embrace it. But if you don't engage with these things either, ladies and gentlemen, don't panic about them. It doesn't mean you have to be on X or you have to be on Twitter to know all about it. It's just one of those things that we'll just work through as we go through. And so you don't have to go getting yourself in a tiz up, but it's a very interesting platform that everything is to do with the X. X marks spot. Of course, Kim Clement, we can't forget him either, talked about this X and this R. Was he also talking about XPR, not XRP? So there's another dynamics as well for a different network that is actually in the background that people don't talk enough about as well. So there's many elements, but the X payment is another platform that's coming out, as I said. Does this basically supersede the paywall, the PayPal, and others as well? Quite possibly. So he never does anything small, Mr. Elon Musk. Believe Starlink has just gone live across Africa as well. So just a little side note while I'm thinking about all of that. So, but yeah, looking forward to seeing what else is in that platform, to be honest. So should be good.
Thank you. One other question I have. Last chat that you had, you talked, I think it was the last one. Anyway, you talked about that XRP is going to run on the XRP ledger, but it's going to run on Stellar. That confuses me. Can you explain that a little bit better?
Okay. So the XRP ledger is a mechanism within the blockchain that balances the assets and liabilities. It's a ledger, okay? XRP, XLM, they're all going to be running on that ledger to balance their books. What I'm saying is that they all run on the Stellar network. The main network behind the blockchains is the Stellar network. So you have a network, then you have Ripple blockchain, you have Ethereum blockchain, you have all these other blockchains, but the network behind it is Stellar network. That's why it's called a network compared to what I said. A blockchain is different. The blockchain is the railway lines within the network, but all of them run on the Stellar network, if that makes better sense.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Yeah, that's okay, Donna, because we have many railway lines. That's why I talk about linking different blockchains together with different nodes. Think of it as an actual railway track. So you come up to a railway track. If it needs adjustment or you need to go off the rails to allow something else to occur, they change the links, don't they? So imagine your blockchains are all your railway lines, but the network itself that runs all those blockchains is the Stellar network. So that's kind of layman's terms. I'm eating grapes, by the way. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a long week. I've got to keep my sausages up. So.
Can I ask this question?
Absolutely. Who is that? I can hear someone. Hello, Texas. How are you, honey? There you are. Now you've popped up. My feed's a bit slow, Janet. So, but Texas baby choice 55. I love the number 55, by the way. I've just cracked 55. So, but anyway, Janet, how are you, darling? How are you?
Wonderful. Wonderful to see you again. You were talking before about lobster and the assets that were being bought with XRP. The houses are assets, different things. Can you explain that a little more? And do you think that that's legitimate? And if so, when it might come to fruition? I know I've got a lot of questions here, but
no.
Can you explain
it?
No,
okay. Okay. All right. So let's take out the word lobster because it's kind of, some people are sort of a bit ooh-ah-y about it. So forget the word lobster for a moment. I just want to focus a little bit. So we're going to take it from a different angle, and then we're going to discuss the lobster. So we have all of these things that come on, and we had during our awakening, so to speak, we actually had many things occur, and these things are called assets have been seized. Okay, so we see seized assets, and we have all of these seized assets have multiple layers, such as they have some of them have replicators, some of them have zoos, some of them have Bentleys. They have all of these assets. So you have to ask the question. Well, I asked the question to myself. I said, well, okay, what are they going to do with all those assets? I mean, I particularly wouldn't want one because they're used for nefarious things. So I'm not involved in any of it, but I'm going to give you my perspective. Is it possible, and I'm only saying is it possible, that they are actually giving those assets back to you, the people? Because what are they going to do with them? They either burn them, they put them away. Are they going to make use of them? Who knows? Okay. Then people came to me and said, well, in lobster that way is that they have these groups of ICOs that have all these properties and all of these assets that obviously have been seized, and some of them have not, which kind of confused me a little bit, because what I was finding was that so many people had been looking at these properties and they were already properties for sale. They weren't part of these seized assets. So it got me a little confused because I just don't really know what's legit, what isn't. I think you're going to have to go with your own intuition on that one, Janet. and work it out. Is it real? Is it not? As I said, the only logical answer that I can give those who are looking at it, or it's been brought to their attention, or they're already involved in that, just use your discernment. If you believe that is going to benefit you, then by all means. But for me personally, I didn't get involved because, as I said, they were assets that I wouldn't want to touch anyway. So, but yeah, so we'll see what happens. But it's not really about the whole lobster thing. I think they're utilising lobster perhaps for that reason. I don't really know. I don't get involved in that. But there is that is the only explanation I can give to people, like why these assets in there for us, and the only explanation I can come up with is
I think
that
this is your longest,
seized assets.
Longest show, I think.
Yeah.
Can I throw a theory at you on that front?
Yeah, go.
Remember when BlackRock and I don't know if Vanguard was in on it, but they were buying up all these homes? Well, weren't they seized in the E&O? So some of those homes could be brand new homes, or some of these homes could have been purchased from even patriots that needed to get out of their homes. We don't know, but
no,
I do believe they're exactly.
Yeah.
So it might not all be nefarious. Just saying. That's my theory.
No, but that's what I'm saying. But not all of them are. That's why I said it confused me, because there was a lot of properties that were just for sale. You can actually do an exercise if you wanted to check, because within the real estate banner, they actually have, say, for I'm just going to use a local one, and I'm not targeting this particular company, by the way, just to say Ray White. Okay, and Ray White has normal listings that are on public listings. And what I was finding was that it was quite interesting in a particular street in Perth, Western Australia, that this one group of listings came up one day, and it was like house number 3, 5, 7, 11, 15 and 21 in that particular street all came up all at the same time. So I did a bit of a look, because it wasn't the actual real estate agents or sellers. No, what do you guys call them over there? Agents? Trying to get the lingo right here. But those who are selling those properties weren't the normal people that were listing the public properties. These people were part of another subsidiary of that Ray White Real Estate, who were specialising in deceased estates, seized estates and things like that as well. So that's another way of also going through the process if you wanted to double check where or how these real estates came about. There is other little tricky ways that you can, and I'm banned on realestate.com, so I can't help you, ladies and gentlemen, but and because I did it so many times, I think they stopped me from doing it. But my point being is that you can certainly start to see trends. If you are a person who follows real estate and loves real estate, as I did, as I said, I'm banned, so I can't get in there anymore. So, but you can certainly have a look at those different properties as to who owned them, what they were before, what's the reason for the selling of those groups. I'd say there was a group booking at Gitmo or something like that, perhaps, that I was talking about. So who knows? But yeah, again, it could have been just a Chinese government official who just had his assets seized and he purchased all those properties. Because some of these properties have never even been lived in, to be honest. Especially in Perth, we have sections or suburbs where these big companies come in and they purchase all these properties in the sake of, giving them to their families or to write off taxes. That's another big story. So they write off taxes and things like that as well. So again, there's many elements to it. I'm not saying they're all nefarious, but thank you, Laura, for clarifying that, because I'm glad we spent some lunchtime together, because you get to know me really, really well. in all of that. So thank you, honey. I hope that helps, Janet. I really do
Thank you
hope
so
that
much.
helps.
Yes,
But
ma'am. And I know you can
No.
check the property records to see who the owners were, and
Yeah,
do your own
yeah.
homework on those things before you get into something like that. But
Yeah,
I just
so
wanted your opinion on it and how it was tied to lobster, and if lobster
like I
was,
said, she'll have to.
a good thing. So
Yeah.
I always like to hear from the best, and you're the best. Thank you, Mel.
Oh, yeah, thank you, honey. Appreciate that. So, but yeah, so that, like I said, there's so many layers. I had a humdinger week, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really, really excited about what is coming. It is definitely coming. So, who
Hey,
else
Mel.
we got? Hey, Tommy.
How are you?
I'm awesome. How are you, more importantly?
Well, it's nice to hear your voice, and as always, thank you for all you do.
Oh, that's all right.
We've seen.
I sit here and chat to all of you, so it's not very difficult. So
appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
We've seen two recent COMEX major outages, including a data center cooling issue and the winter freezing temperatures.
Oh yeah, we
CME
can
now.
blame it.
Yep, CME now is down to 79 million registered ounces of silver, as we see the physical market tightening, which has been discussed heavily on social media. We also saw the LME, the London Metal Exchange, shut down nickel trading in March, about 4 years ago, during a crisis event where physical prices surged. Today, the LME shut down all metal trading from aluminum to zinc at 2:44 p.m. until trading closed, while desk traders could still take trades from their known source partners due to a technical glitch, and that was reported on Bloomberg. As a previous infrastructure engineering manager at Chase, we designed systems without a single point of failure, right? So these anomalies are very suspect. What do you believe was happening?
Yeah.
My two questions are, what do you believe was happening in the background at the LME that initiated their entire metals trading to shut down surreptitiously? And how will these exchange outages impact their credibility going forward?
Wow. There's so many different layers to that, Tom. So I'm curious to. So when you were talking about those so-called glitches, and it is very good to have someone of his caliber here, ladies and gentlemen. So please don't underestimate who you have in the house here. Those glitches, as he said, they are normally fail-safe. The only way these glitches happen is because there's an interference or there's a change of those platforms. Okay? So this is why I said the things that are going on in the background, although you can't see them or you may not understand them, please get excited and stay on the excited train, because that's exactly what Tom's trying to revert for me to tell you, is that these glitches are not glitches, ladies and gentlemen. So let's go to the LME first. It was to start in London, but when you look at the time zones with London and Japan or the Asian markets, there's about a 5 to 6 hour window. And I've always said it's going to be interesting. When we get Will Barney, because I'm going to be asking him a few good questions too, ladies and gentlemen. I put him under the microscope, because my understanding is that the quantum system, it takes that, I think it's only about 3 hours, but let's go that 5 or 6 hours time difference between, say, London and Japan, or whichever country is going to go first, to allow the system to break down or to switch off, so to speak. And they go in and they add these algorithms. So we go back to the hashtag that I was talking about earlier, but they're not hashtags anymore. This is a secure quantum system. So it comes into the system, and as the system is being upgraded, you will get these glitches, so to speak. We can assume, and we're only assuming, that these glitches are, of course, part of that resetting, this global currency reset. We can assume that based upon all the other elements that we already know. Not saying that it was, but it's going to be part of that. Why would they do it? As Tom said, you don't go messing in with the those algorithms and the metals exchange for no particular reason. We're talking about the world's largest metal exchange, separate to the CME, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. So what happens is they all have to link up together as well. So are they doing testing? Have they actually flipped the switch? My understanding, according to some intel that was come through this morning, let's hope and we pray that this is part of that actual global currency reset, because it does not happen every day, ladies and gentlemen. It didn't happen over a weekend. It happened during a weekday, which makes me wonder, what day of the week are we on? What calendar are we on? Coming up onto the 17th of March today. I think there's going to be a lot happening between the 17th of March and probably the 17th of May. I think is going to be our more than 30 days of chaos, but it certainly indicates that there is upgrades that are actually happening within the system. So the fact that they're down to that many ounces, is this part of... So let's go back over the nickel thing as well. So history always tells me that there was more to the nickel than meets the eye. Okay. So let's look at lithium. So nickel is a byproduct of nickel, or is nickel a byproduct of lithium? But here's an interesting side note to all of that. We talked about Mitsubishi vehicles. Mitsubishi was always known about for their cars, but they made shitty bloody cars. Okay? But what they did do is that they were part of this new quantum system. It's still connected to the monetary stuff and the metals exchange, which is going to be linked as your new currency. So that's why we also focus a lot on the minerals side of things, because we're going back to an asset backed, these minerals are your new currency. So this is why this is important. So Mitsubishi used to make cars and this, that, and all the rest of it. Then, of course, they went into air conditioning. But when they made that merge from from the cars to the air conditioning, they utilised quite a lot of nickel and things like that as well. But they also used a lot of silver. They also were part of this extraction of minerals from the lithium. So lithium mining was always that one that, of course, all of us in the awoken world was disgusted about because of all the repercussions of lithium. But here's where it gets really, really interesting. Not only did I discover that the separation of lithium and nickel is through basically really, really strong grade borax / bicarb soda, okay? So that's how they're now splitting. And Mitsubishi were part of that new system, which makes them actually part of this new quantum system. So I'm going to go back and show you something else. In amongst all the banks that we think that we're going to do our exchange, is not all banks. Are not all banks. So there's a little side note for you. Don't ask me about it because I can't tell you, but I'm just telling you that there is a little side note to all of this. So when we talk about the LME, we talk about the nickel, we talk about how much silver they have left. Ladies and gentlemen, this is bigger than what you actually fully understand.
Yeah, this is a
The glitches of them so-called shutting down is the incorporation of your new currency coming in online. It's connected to many companies, and one of those is, of course, Mitsubishi. Mitsubishi, isn't that a Japanese company, Tom? Am I correct? Is that Japanese, Mitsubishi?
It is.
Oh, fancy that. So this is why we focus also on the Japanese market, because the Japanese, of course, as I said, in the 1980s, were very, very big in bringing in a lot of their they were exporting quite a lot. And, of course, believe it or not, I think, I'm just trying to remember now, when was the last time they revalued? You've got to remember too, those who are sort of sitting on the fence about currency revaluations, Tom, you would remember some of these too. We often have currency revaluations in the currency sector. This is very important because this is why this whole London Metals Exchange is so important, because we're going back to the gold standard. So it's a little bit not normal, I suppose you can say, because we have economists that have been in the markets for so long that are only focused on the fiat. This time we're focusing on the metals and the commodities, because that is what's going to readjust your currencies. So that's why it's really, really important. I hope that I went a roundabout way on that one, Tom, because there's certain things that I can't really talk about. But does that cover most of what you said? Or was there something else I might have missed when I was munching?
It did, but you just one further question based upon your answer and your discussion of lithium. So we know that Mexico is, I believe, the #1 exporter of silver. They, couple of years ago, they nationalized their lithium mines.
Oh, did they?
Yes. So how do you see that with the metals going forward, given that silver is Mexico's #1 priority?
Okay. Because what will happen there, Tomboy, is that they nationalised them because the government had to purchase those mines, A, to clean them up, and B, as I said, there is many other extractions, not just lithium, that they're going to be mining because they wasted it. There would be actual gold in some of those lithium extractions as well. So I understand if they nationalise them, you can bet your bottom dollar that they're going to have to go in and A, clean them up, and as I said, utilise that borax to eliminate certain elements from there. And there would have been other rare earth minerals, so that's why they nationalised those lithium mines. So there's a bit more to that story. So hope that helps.
It does. It does. Thank you.
That's okay. That's okay. I love it when I get these very high educated people like that give me some really good doozy questions, because they're really cool. Independent thinker, how are you, honey?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. It's so good to see you and hear you. So I have a question. So have you ever met with someone who was off-world, or have you ever been off-world? I'm just curious. Thank you, Mel.
Oh, geez, we're definitely going places today, aren't we? Have I met anyone off-world? Quite possibly, yes. I would say yes. Do I go off planet regularly in many different elements? Understand this. I think everyone does, to be quite honest, but they just don't realise it. Does that make sense, independent thinker? I mean,
it does. I think we astro travel at night, don't we?
I'm pretty sure we do. Yes. I can wake up some days and think, geez, I felt like I run a marathon Again, it depends on the perspective of some people when we talk about, tapping into our pineal gland and all that kind of thing as well. I don't force myself to do that, if that makes sense. I'm not one to go channeling or tapping in. I think in this transition that we're actually in, it's quite a serious conversation. Again, it's another seminar that you and I should actually have a seminar together, independent thinker. So it's one of those things that I'm trying to think the best way of explaining it. So we have the ability to tap in to realms and things like that as well. What I'm trying to say is that during this transition period, I have noticed a lot of people that have gone a little bit AWOL, so to speak, or have come in and said things such as, oh, they lied to me or whatever. And it concerns me when I start hearing that, and it's kind of like, well, what are you tapping into, honey? Because whenever I have received downloads or messages or have gone astro sleepwalking or whatever, understand it's a peaceful thing. It's a lovely thing. It's a positive thing. So when I hear people talking about this negative side of things, I kind of tilt my head and go, oh, you got to be careful what you're tapping into, because there's many different elements, especially when we're moving from a godly universe into another realm. There is opportunities, is what I'm trying to say, of where things can pop in and destabilize what you think you are tapping into, if that makes sense. So for me, it's always been a la naturel. I allow things to happen. It's like I could be sitting here some days, as I said, I love these Q&As because I speak through God. So God is within me. So I just speak the word from the Lord, basically. It's not a religious thing. It's not a church thing. It's just a universal thing. It's just what comes out. And it comes out naturally. And sometimes I even shock myself and I go, oh, where did that come from, Mel? That was really cool. It's because it's coming from within you. Like I said, what you put in your brain comes out your mouth. What you put in your mouth, you shit out. But when you say, for instance, you're reading positive things, you're going to speak positive, aren't you? So it's a very, very difficult element to discuss freely because some people are not quite understanding that. But for me personally, I don't go looking for it. I don't travel. I don't go, oh, please take me up. I mean, we all say that, but we want them to come and collect us. But I don't go tapping in, if that makes sense. But it's just a natural thing. But yes, I do believe we do. I've had many incidences where I've seen things. Things have certainly appeared. See UFOs all the time. So I've had many experiences when I was much younger. So, yeah, Mark Atwood is very, very open. He's probably one of the better ones to listen to. I quite like Mark Atwood. He discusses very freely about his experiences. Mine are kind of like, oh, what was that all about? Or whatever, because, as I said, I'm in tune. But I don't, I embrace it, but I don't go tapping into looking for more because I think if you're tapping in too much, it can be infiltrated, so to speak. So I let things happen naturally, and they always seem to show up when I least expect it. So that for me is a better sign than tapping in, so to speak. So, but yeah, there's many elements to it. I mean, people have different ways of different things. There's different types of channeling. It's all part and parcel. So,
thank you so much. And I follow Matt. I follow Atwood. What's his name?
Mark.
Mark. Yes, I follow him, and I actually met him at a Truth or Tour, and he is awesome. So thank you so
Yeah.
much. That was a funky question, but I got a funky answer. So that's cool. Thank you, Mel.
Like I said, you can message me privately, honey, and we can have a good old convo about stuff like that, because it definitely
that
goes
would
to
be
different
sweet.
places. Yeah, that goes to different places. So, but yeah. So who else are we going to? What else are we going to chat about?
Hello, I have a question.
Well, I was going to say, nice to hear that,
Wow.
Mel.
Oh gosh, you're a champion, Chaos. So, Island Girl, well, yes, honey, go for it, darling. We'll talk to Chaos in a second. So.
Okay, this is so good because I like really never talk on these things, but it just occurred to me as you were talking about some other stuff. This is a great place to chat about this. So many people were putting out decodes about the rally that Trump did in Kentucky the other day, and the big green across the screen, and some other stuff. But I caught stuff that I've been watching for my favorite guys to talk about, and nobody's talking about it. So, I think it's because it's connected to the RV and not to Q drops. And so I wanted to just see what you think.
Okay, well, I haven't really watched it, honey. So
Well,
you're going to have to tell me.
That's okay. You don't really have to, because I wrote down the timestamps and everything because I think they're significant, and they do actually tie into the Q drops. So, I mean, this is after the big. Did you hear people talking about it though? Where I don't know what time it was, but all of a sudden, it was like it was like somebody put a green gel over the camera lens, and it lasted for 38 seconds. So it was like, hello, is anybody looking? Everybody has time to notice this. Everything you're looking at is green. It's green, green, green. Okay. So that was like in your face. But after that, at 5:15 p.m., so that's a 51 and a 15, right? That's a mirror. He said, blah, 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 Muchin. And then he corrected himself quickly and said, Munich. Those aren't even close. And I'm like, Muchin, like Mnuchin, as in the movie producer, as in the guy who signed our money. What? And like, nobody picked up on this and is talking about it? I don't get it. I mean, it's like, it was so in my face.
Well, I'm glad that you came up and had the courage to do that, because Munich, let's talk about Munich. Isn't that the capital of some other country? Munich as well? And that's connected to UBS.
Okay, interesting.
Banking system.
He connected it with Mnuchin.
Mnuchin, exactly. But she was the producer and the actor, and that's what I'm saying, honey. Who is running the show? Who is running the show? So,
and he signed all of our 2017 money.
He certainly did. He certainly did.
But wait, there's more.
Okay. Oh gosh. Okay.
So we're still at that. We're still at 5:15. Like, he did so much in 1 minute. So he does that, and then he said, I want to something blah, blah, blah. Because sometimes he says, I want to get off the teleprompter. Can I get off the teleprompter?
No, yet.
And it was almost like that was a cue for the lady that was behind him in the stands. I mean, if she was acting, she gets all the Oscars. It looked very authentic. So maybe it was just a coinkydink. But it was like right then she fainted. Okay, so he talks about Muchin, Munich. I want to get off the teleprompter. Lady faints, and he turns around and he notices what's going on, and he sees the medics coming, and he turns around to the camera and he says, "Take your time." Like, we're all gonna faint. That's what I'm thinking. And then he says again, "Take your time."
Well, I can feel. Yeah, go on.
Under an hour.
And then, okay, so then,
and I'll be back tonight.
He waits like 3 minutes. This goes on. Take your time. He's waiting for the medics. And then there's a 6-minute where they pause the entire feed. And it says, "We will return shortly." And then, but wait, there's more. And that made me really think, okay, it probably was authentic. They really probably had to come in and put the lady on the stretcher, but who knows about these things? Because I have seen some of these things go on. And then at 5:45 p.m., 54:45, he introduces, wait for it, he introduces Nick Sandman. Do not fall off your chair.
Project Sandman. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Nobody's talking about this. It was so in my face. I'm so happy to get to talk to somebody about it.
Oh, 100%, girlfriend. That is, oh my gosh, Project Sandman. It's interesting. Oh, okay, keep going. Yeah, keep going. Project Sandman. Okay, we got that. We're at 4:45.
There's more. So that was at 5:45. Okay. So remember, the Muchin thing was at 5:15. Well, at 5:51, there's a really quick blackout on the screen. And I wouldn't have noticed it because I always do other things while I'm listening to him talk. You know, you got to do other things or you'll never get anything done. But there was keyboard noise. And there was a lot of that kind of stuff through that whole speech. There was a lot of like weird, this is fishy. But right before the blackout, I heard tap, 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 tap. And I turned around to look, going, what is that? And I saw the blackout. And then it came back on. I'm like, oh man, blackout necessary.
So what time was the blackout? 5:55?
5:51.
Okay, that's cool.
It's fascinating. I just think that whole event was so loaded with comms. Okay, go on. You started to share some stuff. You want to talk about Munich and Sandman, and so I'm going to sign out and let you talk. Thank you.
Oh no! I'm excited. I was actually doing some calculations in my head, Island Girl. So it started at 5:15 and ended at 5:51. They just moved the decimal point or moved the one out to the thing. So that's really interesting.
That's where I started catching things. The entire speech apparently was 107 minutes long.
Of course it was.
Of course it was. I don't know what time it started because I was like, well, everybody's talking about the green stuff. So let me just go back and get the time.
45 minutes, you guys.
Absolutely.
45 minutes.
So, well, congratulations to you, girl. That is, it's something I enjoy doing when like I said, when it pops up like that, you've got to love that. And very courageous of you to come up and share your excitement, because they are definitely comms, and they weren't just meant for you, honey. They were meant for a whole lot of people. And I think, as I said a little bit earlier, I think it's very important to remember that that's what I'm seeing now. A lot of the news, actually, that might have been why my New Earth, she texted me and said green, and that's probably what she was talking about, referring to actually was the green.
Seriously?
So, sorry, why not? Yes, darling. Yes, why not? Go for it. No?
I think he accidentally unmuted himself.
He probably did. That's okay. So I think what happens is that, as I said, we're starting to see all these things. So I think there was an article that came up the other day about Melania's family, and I didn't realize it was so bad. It's because we're refreshing our memories and going, oh, this could have been much worse than what it actually was, or we missed something previously, where it's to show you how far you've all grown. So, Island Girl, a big credit to you, girlfriend. You don't normally come up and talk to people. Well, I'm glad you talked to me, because that shows me how much growth And please, ladies and gentlemen, know that inside each and every one of you, you have all grown through all of this. I know I've grown. We've all come together at this point in time for a specific reason and a purpose, as we did when we first started. But you look back and have a look back at who was with you when you started, and have a look at where you are right now. We've left some people behind, or some people chose to be left behind. Whatever that is, you are here right now. So congratulations, Island Girl, for sharing that exciting bit of gematria and things like that as well, because it is absolutely so true that these are the things that keep us going. Because if this was deemed to go a little bit longer than what we hoped, then those are the kind of things that are there for us to keep on keeping on. So congratulations, Island Girl. I'm so proud of you, and so glad you got to share that with me, because I'll definitely have to go back and have a look. So Chaos, you wanted to say something. You've always got something to say.
Wow.
So we had a great old chat last time. How are you? How are you?
Yes, I'm going good. Yes, I was going to add to that, actually. I was going to add to that. We've all been on the journey of searching for our being. We've been searching so hard, really hard. But I really consider we're at a point where we can sort of relax a bit. We sort of know enough about everything to a degree that we don't need to really get too heavily involved, but just start to be. We are, in our seeking, we are now the being. We've been searching and seeking for our being, and now we've just got to be. We've sort of found that connection, haven't we? But it's that realization of it. We don't need to be seeking anymore. We can just relax a bit, and with what we know, and be the frequency. Be that frequency. We are. Our frequency is emanating all around of us.
100%.
We are making a huge shift.
It is.
Each and every one of us. Yes.
It's they're going to need they're going to need a lot of massive ships for all of us. I can tell you now, honey, because that is so true. Well said, Chaos. That is very well said.
I was meant to tell you guys.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, cool.
And that's what I was getting at before, darling. Is sometimes these things just come out of my mouth, and I just go, okay, it was meant for somebody. But
Exactly.
But
you can put your foot in it at times as well.
That's right. Hey, listen, it's called Mayhem Mel for a reason, sunshine.
Exactly.
It's Mayhem Mel for a reason. So
do
I put my foot in it? Yes, I do. Sometimes, and it's really interesting because I'm dyslexic as well. So I love these kind of platforms where people are courageous enough, and the beautiful Laura, L17, boy, oh boy, does she keep me on the straight and narrow. She met me. We had to navigate, 6 or 7 other different conversations going on. And when you're dyslexic, often you're thinking about something else, or you're saying something about something else you heard, and then I'm having another conversation over here. So that's what the whole purpose was to come to all of you and have these Q&As. And I love these more because I don't have to do any more. I still research, and I love researching. But the research that I'm doing now is completely different to what I did before. And I had the privilege of speaking to a guy who is a true historian. This gentleman, ladies and gentlemen, I have to do a YouTubey with him. So I'm getting my list together to get on my YouTube and sort all that out, because this gentleman and I sat there for about 40, 45 minutes, and we were just going through different timelines. And we went on to a different journey the other day about when President Truman was around in 1954. And I was saying, oh, okay, is that connected to the 1955? Is that why we're going back to 1955 prices? And he, being the historian that he is, we incorporated the history with my bit of knowledge. And boy, was that a boom shakalaka moment. It was like you couldn't put your foot in anything, I can tell you, because the truth be told, it was just connecting. And it's almost like the Truman Show, isn't it? And it's like, I said to my roommate, I said to her the other day, I said, I think we should be watching the Truman movie again. So, yeah, we should definitely consider, as I said, history is repeating itself. Let's sit back, relax, enjoy the movie, as they say, because we have done it. We may not know everything, and we're not meant to know everything. I think there's going to be a good lot of shock and awe as well. And that's going to set us in the precedence of where we're going to go. And that's part of your ascension and your frequencies and that as well. So that's why we talk about those things as well. So it's all connected to the currency reset. But yeah, it's really fascinating how things come together. So very blessed, very, very blessed. So,
Hey, Mel, there's a couple questions on the wall I'd like to ask you.
Oh, absolutely. Go for it. Yes. Well, we've already been talking for an hour and a bit. That's incredible. Okay, keep going.
So I'm going to combine the two because it has to do with Boulevard. The question is Boulevard still a good choice? And can you please explain the difference between Boulevard and Digital?
That's a very loaded question. There's two in one there. Yes, there is. Okay, so yes, it is a good option. It certainly is. Is it going to be one of those little surprises? I think all of them are going to be surprises. I think we're all going to be surprised with all of that. But yes, it is a good choice. The digital tell is basically, it's all it is, as I said the other day in a group, is that understand we have the physical cash. Yes, we do. But I think everything is going to be digital, and all they're going to do is transfer that. That actually, I'm trying to incorporate that exact question into how do I tell you about that? This is a good example. So we have Boulevard. We go in, we've got our cash Boulevard. We take that into the redeeming centre, the wealth management centre, the bank, whatever it is going to be. Okay, whatever you want to call it. That is then digitalised. Are they going to digitalise that into an actual Vietnamese Boulevard account? It's not a Vietnamese, but a Boulevard account. So if you had Vietnamese Dong, you would have a Vietnamese VND account or a bond equivalent to that. We will wait and see, but it is a good choice. Yes, it is. But digitally speaking, there is whispers that that's why they talk about having your currencies separate. Will they give you a separate account? Kind of makes sense because there's reasons for that as well. So we'll wait and see. But the digital is just the, if you don't have the physical, but you have it digitalized on a platform such as Wise or Revolut, then it will be converted over. That's basically all the digital tell is going to be. So
maybe they were talking, you have the regular Boulevard, then you have the Digitalis.
Oh, the Digitalis, yes, the different, then there's Sobrano as well. Venezuela's had, sorry, it was the pronunciation, sorry, hun. They had a lot. It wasn't just the Digitalis, it wasn't just the Boulevard, there was Sobrano or something. There's another one as well. Understand Venezuela's, it was so corrupt. They had like 5 different currencies, I think, that they had. But either or, they are both perfectly fine. They are going to be, they're fine. They're fine to go in for redemption. So same with there's another one. I think there is another one called SOBERANO or something. And that's perfectly fine as well. So we focus on the Boulevard, but the Digitalis, Digitalis, whatever it's pronounced as, that is okay as well. It was on the screen as well, so it's perfectly fine.
How are the med beds shaping up? Any latest word on them?
Yes, I do. I'm just going to, hopefully you don't lose me. I'm going to have a look Some very special people sent me some stuff. Let me have a look at the medbed stuff. I've got to find the group. And if, just by the way, if you have private messaged me, I am still catching up and I am getting through them. So I will send you a message as soon as possible. I might have to go into here.
You know what,
Here we
Mel?
go.
I question who I
Yeah.
listen to. I question everybody I listen to. And I listen
Yes.
to you and I think, how is it? I listen to you and I love everything you do. How is it possible that Mel cannot be connected with the White Hat or with everything we're experiencing? Because of everything that you know. Everything that you know and you're telling us. I mean, you're guiding us.
Have you not seen my Q video, honey? I'll send you. Have I posted the Q video here, Wildflower, yet? No, I haven't.
No.
34 minutes.
Cool.
Okay, so
thank you very much.
yeah, I'll repost that one. Okay, so let's have a look at. Going to talk about the med beds. So let's go in this direction here. For those who have very mild wellness support systems such as stress, tension, poor sleep, mild fatigue, a nervous system imbalance or relaxation support, your total times of healing days is 3 to 14 days, which I found very interesting. That is to have 5 to 12 sessions, and session frequency per day is 1. So you'll, depending on each individual, obviously depending on your case, whether it is mild, moderate or severe, they are starting to release certain information regarding the medical grade quantum regenerative bed, they are calling it. They're not going to be called med beds by the looks of things, which I have stated quite some time ago. So if you have, say, a moderate condition, whatever they class as moderate, could be cartilage restoration, deep detox or tissue degeneration. I'm not into the medical terms. I can hardly speak English. But your total healing days will be 3 to 7. You'll have 5 to 12 sessions required, and you could possibly have 1 to 2 sessions of frequency per day. If you have a more severe medical condition, that being the late stage of diseases, organ damages, neurological traumas, autoimmune collapses, paralysis, cancer, and major systematic illnesses, they are saying that your total healing days will still be anywhere up to 21 days. The sessions required could be 10 to 25, and your session frequencies could be up to 6 to 8 hours long and up to twice per day. Okay, so that is the latest and greatest that I have on the actual med beds. So as I said, I will release that other video. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. So, but yeah, so.
Thank
So,
you.
Mel?
We have
Yes.
one more question on the wall.
Yes.
What is behind the negotiations with Mark Carney and India, and how does this unfold with the financial collapse?
What is the connection? Like I said, India so the original, okay, so let's go back in a little bit of quick history. Just remember that the rupee was one of the original currencies that were back in the day before herbs and spice, or just after herbs and spices. Rupee play a very big part, hence India plays an extremely big part. The connection there is, of course, we just saw India leaving the LBMA.
Yep.
So that's very interesting how that's going to unfold. Basically, is the London, goes back to the question that Tom had. Are they connecting that into the system? India play the biggest part in this because lot of the system was started in India. The quantum system is what I'm talking about. And does it play a big part? Yes. Again, this is what these glitches are. So the centerpiece or the technology is based in India, or part of it, not all of it. There is a big part that plays in Singapore and, of course, the Monetary Authority in Singapore. But India do have a very big part, hence why he is speaking with India or spending some time in India. So, yeah. So there you go.
All right, thank you. That's all the questions on the wall. If somebody has another question,
I think it's
that
Laura.
hasn't
Yeah, I
asked
think
yet.
Laura. Yes.
Oh, I was just going to ask if there was any mention about metal removal time frame with a med bed or whatever they're calling.
That was just a very brief one, honey. If the list is like pages and pages long, I was just going through very quickly to give you a brief update on that. I'm sure there would be. I mean, crikey. I mean, I'm just using quick examples to let you know that, you know, the timeframes and the different types of sessions that you'll be having. So as for when they're going to be released, I still can't give you that. I don't have that information. I'm not privy to that. But to certainly have that kind of information, yeah, I think that's I don't know if I'll get into trouble for that one, but that's okay. But that was just a brief update on that as well. So yeah. So.
Now, can I ask you a question? Do you have any sort of time frame for the kingdoms? You know, the 7 kingdoms we're sort of heading to. Do you think that that's going to be?
Yeah.
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 You go.
About 2029, love. About 2029.
Okay. It's a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there is still, but that's not that far away. Please understand that's not that far away either. So.
Exactly. Yeah. Look out. Yeah. How quick the last 5 years ago. 5, 6, 7 years, whatever. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's it. So I'm just looking for that video, ladies and gentlemen. So I'll put up the Q video that you can have a look at. Again, this is not about me. It's just about letting recognition of all the work that I have done. So I will share it with you over here. So
thank you. Thank you.
That's all right, sunshine, only because you brought it up and I thought, oh, okay, we're getting that close. You might as well have it. So this was actually found. It wasn't actually given to me. It was actually found by another group. At this particular time, they were discussing, of course, Hurricane Melissa, which was no coinky dinky, of course. So where are we? We're doing here. We're in this group today, aren't we? Yes, we are. Find the sender's name, apply. And so there you go, ladies and gentlemen. So there's a little video, the internal flame in the queue. And right at the end of the video, Wisconsin group, we were doing some incredible amount of work in that group. And they noticed at the end of this video that Melissa is here to help you. So just a little reminder, as I said, it's just an acknowledgement of the work that does go on in the background, as I said. So, but yeah, so there's a little teaser for you, ladies and gentlemen. So chaos, just for you for bringing that up to our attention. So, but again, understand it's not for me. It was for all of you to understand that I am here to help. So, but it is a beautiful little video. So that gives you something to, to watch and listen to. So, but Jackie, you're at the top. Did you want to ask a question, darling?
I did. I was just want to ask, could you tell me about agro checks? Are they good?
Yeah. Agro checks are going to be paid out as currency, is my understanding.
Thank you.
They're good.
I got a question.
Yes.
Quick question.
No, you're right. Now they're all coming up. So Mendivas. Yes. What's your question, honey?
Okay, so I have some things called bearer checks. There's Zim bearer checks. Have you ever heard of them? And what do you know about them?
Yes. Yeah, they're the same. Just take them along, and yes, yeah,
Perfect. Thank
they're
you.
fine. My pleasure, honey. T-Swan, T-Swan,
Yes.
T-Swan.
Hi.
Swan
How are
T.
you?
How are you, darling? I'm
I'm
just
good.
going
You?
through the process in yeah, good. I'm just going through the process in my head about I could sit down and have a good cup of tea with a beautiful swan like you. That's what I was thinking. So we'll have to do that
Well,
one day. So
yeah, sounds good. My question is, what do you think Barron Trump's part is in all this?
oh, isn't it fascinating that there's a little book called, Barron Trump? It's always a beautiful story, isn't it? So what do I know about Barron Trump? Let's just say that is he the next Trump, as in on the flag? You know how like they say Trump and JFK Jr. and then there's JFK Jr. and Trump? Which Trump is it going to be? Is it going to be Barron or is it going to be Laura or who knows? So he does play a beautiful role. He is a giant, of course, as we know. What role does he play in the next future? I think keep an eye on who his new wife is going to be. So we'll see what happens. But it is a beautiful story. And the story of Barron Trump, of course, is the time traveler. As I said, irregardless of whose child he is, because we all have theories on that as well. But I don't go down that. I focus on the actual Barron himself and go, we only say the Trump. Which Trump are we talking about? Is he playing more of a role than what we actually realise? Again, like I said, I think in the future he's going to be playing a lot of a different role. I think as Chaos said about the kingdoms and stuff like that as well. Age-wise, he's got a lot of life left in him. So I think moving forward, he's going to play a very big part.
Thank you very much. That's nice to hear.
You get it. Yeah, it is. Yeah. So, I think he's going to play a very big role. So, but surely you must have something else, T-Swan.
No, I was just curious about Barron, but you intrigued me with wife.
The wife. You've always got to watch the wives, honey. Boy, gosh, oh golly gee, T-Swan. You always have to watch the wives. Who does he marry? What's going to happen there? Or does he even marry? Does he have more than one wife? Who knows? But no, that's not true. But yeah, no, he does play a very big role. As I said, he is a giant. DJT did sort of express that on several occasions. So, yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But beautiful song.
Mel,
Beautiful.
hi, Mel. It's 99.
I've been wanting to talk to you. My goodness gracious me. I've been wanting to talk to you for such a long time.
I just heard we were on here. My friend RD told me you were on. But, I just wanted to ask you about other countries doing projects. Are they aware some of the countries are not really? Because I have plans of doing olive branch type work also. And I want to make a difference in a lot of people's lives, teaching them and reaching out to them from American Patriot, And so I've been working on a bunch of projects, Mel, and I'm hot to trot on this stuff. And I'm excited. And God's just given me so much vision, Mel. I'm going crazy. So I want to share that.
You are. But, look, I was only thinking about you the other day. That is true. As I sit here in front of you, girlfriend, I'm going, geez, I haven't seen her for a long time. I haven't heard her voice. And next minute, boom, you just pop up. So, look, many countries are aware of different things. And every country, as I said, will have different ways of releasing those projects. What's important for them may not be as important for us in the Western countries.
Mm-hmm.
They will
I agree with that, their culture.
Yeah. So what happens there is say, for instance, a country of Africa. they will actually, believe it or not, this is true. They actually embrace a lot of new things a lot faster than us, because we've been living in this matrix world, whereas they've lived in a different matrix box, so to speak. So when we introduce them, of course, to say flying cars, it's very easy for them to accept, and they will go leaps and bounds. They're not as manipulated as us, as we have been manipulated in our education system. So understand the beautiful souls of Africa that haven't been to school. And I always used to love the children who haven't been to school.
Oh, yeah, the innocence.
They live life. They have so.
Don't they?
Like
I love it. I love the young people. You know, I'm really my passion. How cool.
Yeah, and they are very cool because they actually have a quantum brain, because they are not manipulated by other conditions. They utilize those brains, and we've seen so many videos and movies made of children who build windmills and things like that as well.
Awesome.
They are. That's right. So they have this most beautiful, unencrypted, unincorporated, uncorrupted mind. And they just have the vision for their own country, and it's the most beautiful experience to ever experience.
That is so awesome. You know, I got this vision. God just showed me he wants me to do some things. Last night, he just popped this into my head. I've been working on it all day. So there's certain countries I have in mind, and I don't want to get into that on here. But, man, I just been on it, like serious on this. And it's just exciting, because, everybody loves Trump around the world, and we're an extension of him. You know what I mean? That I feel like, I don't know. I just like to share with them and listen to them and see what they want to do. And I'm really interested in that, So anyways, I just want to share that out with you and say hi.
Oh, absolutely. And thank you for popping on, because I was concerned about you. I really, truly was. And it is so lovely. When you popped up, I went, oh, there's my Agent 99, because I used to always acknowledge you.
Thank you, Mel. It's nice seeing you. Are you still here in the States? Are you still here in the States?
Back in Australia now, darling. Yes. Okay, but I will be back.
Okay.
I will be back.
Awesome.
I will be back very, very
soon. Thank you.
I know. So, please stay in touch, girlfriend. So that's really cool. Yeah.
Thank you.
So Wildflower, is there any other questions at all, darling, on the board, or?
Yeah, there's one more here. What do you think about the Hungarian pangos being involved in the RVs?
Yes, they are. They are. Yes. I checked on that one because I have one.
None.
One, only the few that I have left, but Hungarian Pango 1936 and 48 are perfectly, they're going to go extremely well. They are, if again, like I said, I don't know if there's any available, as long as they're authenticated, this, that, and all the rest of it. I do believe they will be paid out as a tranche, as a bond as well. So, but they are good to go, Hungarian Pangos. So yes, but even the currency itself is going to be that. Some of the currencies, especially some of the ones that date back to some of the dong, I think are going to just be characterized as, and I'm talking the very, very original dong. Okay, some of the dongs will be characterized as, what do they call it? What's the word I'm looking for? Wildflower.
Historic.
Historic. That's the word. Thank you.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
We're tapping in already, girlfriend. And we're tapping in already. They'll be just classed as historic and become part of that, our history in the making, so to speak. But they're very, 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 very old and very, very rare. So I think it's pre-1932, I think it is. of the Vietnamese dong. That's the only confirmed one that I can think of. But if you do have currencies that have been, you found, say, in the basement, Granddad had some currencies left over during the war, please understand, although they may not be part of the currency revaluation moving forward, they are worth a lot of money, and they will be characterised, as I said, later on as heritage type money, so antiques and things like that as well. So please don't just throw them away. Please hold on to them as things progress. Everything is worth something. So the little treasures that we have found over the years. So keep in touch. So,
Well, one more question. What do you know about the Mexican peso?
Mexican peso is going to go 1 to 1.
Is
did I
it?
say that
I
out
live right
loud?
by the border. I better be stocking up on that stuff. Oh my God. I don't even have any.
I never said that.
That's crazy. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so there's another one for you. So, yeah,
Holy
Mexican peso.
Wow.
Geez, that one slipped out, didn't it? Geez, that's a bit rude and naughty, Mel. Naughty girl.
Mel, we didn't hear anything.
You didn't hear anything.
About 14 minutes, you guys.
And Mel,
yes,
your opinion, like, because I've done so much deep diving on this, but I mean, I'm up in Canada. That with being the fact is that back in the 1800s, they didn't legally pass the law of separating Canada and the United States because only 9 of the 12 signed off on it.
That's correct.
Yeah. So 9
Yes,
of the 12 things. So in other words, when this thing goes, I mean, that Canada will be back under the United States, and then will be under the Treasury too. Due to the fact is that Puerto Rico and the Treasury are all connected with Canada and the United States. So how long?
Yes.
I mean, I feel that 250 anniversary, that hopefully by then we'll kind of know what's going on, because I know the whole Canadian government from the lower levels of the premier and prime ministers all the way up to the top is beyond corrupt. So we will be basically, when we do the exchanges should be an exchange at the USD level, not at the normal Canadian currency, because we've got a 30% cheaper than what the USD is. So I just wanted to get your thoughts are, and because of that, being the fact is how much illegal immigrants that have been actually just as bad as in the United States, about 10% of the population. You're looking like 10 to 15 million people that are infiltrated into the United States. I know for a fact there's at least 2 to 3 million or more out of the 40 million are illegal aliens because of under the corruption. Would they be all forced to go back to their country as well, being the fact is it was all under illegal guise?
Yeah, if they're here illegally, they got to go back.
Yeah, because I mean, they you know what I mean, like some of them, some are illegal, but some like I said, I know majority, like the populations of from East Indian to Islamic to I mean, like all back east, they're doing prayers and having the horns going off all over Montreal or all over Quebec and Ontario, and it's starting to happen on the West Coast as well. I was just curious.
Yep.
I mean, like they're all going to be forced to go back to their own countries, then I guess, eh?
Yeah, they are. And again, like I said, if you're there legally, it's a different kettle of fish. But if you're there illegally, yeah, unlucky, you have to go home. So in other words, we're going to basically be in the coming year. We should be we'll be under the same Constitution of the United States. Yes, correct. By the end,
I know some people are crying about that.
Oh yeah, they can cry all they like, but it's already in the pipeline, and that should be completed by 2027. So yeah. So.
Hey Mel, I wanted to piggyback off of that. I believe that if anybody, did you listen to Trump this afternoon when he was sitting next to Susie? Did you watch that, Mel?
That was
Let me
a bit
tell
of
you,
sleep that I got.
he said a lot of sneaky things. And you know what, JR? I believe by June, everybody's going to know what the deal is. I think it's going to come quicker. They've gone way ahead of us. And from what I listened to today, it was popping. So just saying. Anyways, thank you.
Well, there's so much corruption that people don't understand. Like Trudeau used, I think it was about almost $600 to $800 million of Canadian taxpayer money to pay for the funding for the 2 biolabs on the BC coast to create the mRNA in BC. And I had documentation that he had ownership of both of those biolabs that I found he was. Yeah,
So don't you
he was
think
getting.
Don't you believe they've already taken care of him in that? I do, because we're right here at we're coming down the slide, ready to go into this new world. And I have Canadian friends, and I know it's really bad there, and I've heard it's rough in Australia too. And pretty soon everybody's going to be blessed, very, very soon. So I get it, JR. I've heard a lot of stories about it with my Canadian friends. But
I've been involved with some of the freedom fighter groups, like boots on the ground, confronting the actual government levels where we're basically filing orders against Trudeau, filing orders against the premiers and prime ministers. Where I've been followed. I've actually had my phone clicking. I've had some of the people have almost been killed. That actually they're still trying to recover.
It's real.
Oh yeah,
I know. I've been through it.
Yeah, and even what do you call it? That one group, Antifa. I've had Antifa come after quite a few people that I'm directly connected with, and I've seen some pretty crazy stuff. And I was so ecstatic when Trump put them down as a terrorist group, because they've been attacking people that I know and attempting to murder them as well. So it's been pretty crazy.
Yeah,
totally. It's a scary thing, and to live in it and all that. And Mel, how's it over in Australia right now? Is it ticking?
Yep.
Okay. Soon we'll be united.
Yeah, absolutely. As I said, so technically, I always say, home is where the heart is, or where you place your feet. But we are all one. So it doesn't really matter. I think someone did actually private message me about passports and things like that as well. So eventually, as I said, you will be able to be free to travel. When all these places become safe, you'll be able to travel and, and feel freedom, so to speak. So, looking forward to all of that. But we all have experienced so much during this journey. And as I said, this is probably the most peace I've actually felt for quite some time. So there's, like I said, there's technical things that are going on. That's still happening, as I said, even with the phones and what have you. But overall, we are looking for some very exciting changes to happen. As I said, just because you can't see it, ladies and gentlemen, does not mean it's not happening. And boy, oh boy, was it good to hear from JR as my backup, as well as Agent 99 as well. So Erica G, you better be quick, because I got to go.
So sorry. You just said something magic about the passports. My sister just dropped about a month ago, literally, and she passed away on the spot. Her twin brother in Hungary flew out here, and he's concerned. They're 58 years old, the two of them, and he said, you need to get yourself a passport, a Hungarian passport. He said probably an EU passport, because if anything happens to him, he said, you need to come over. So this thing, it concerns me with the passports. How long do we have to wait, do you think? This is sort of a family thing. What do you think?
Erica G, I actually saw you on the feed today, and I was going to say, Erica, are you there? And you come up just as I'm about to go. Honey, my thoughts are with you, sweetheart, okay? You and I have spoken before previously, and what I'm going to say to you, as I say to everyone, time is what it is, honey, and you don't wait for this thing to actually happen. If it happens tomorrow, then so be it. But to lose a twin, and I've had that happen to me, not realizing it till much later in life, but certainly felt it at the time. Please understand, honey, you do what you need to do. And this goes for everyone in this chat room. This is not just for Erica. This message was for everyone. Do not stop living. You have to do what you need to do right now, right here in the system that you're already in until such time as it changes. This is why I say it could go out for another 2 more months. We have to hang on. And this is why we have these beautiful rooms that Wildflowers put together and many other people that that come together as one. Erica, you need to do what you need to do. You need to go and get that Hungarian passport. Do not wait, my darling. These things are going to take time. These things are going to take time. How fast? How fast is fast? We can we can ride a push bike at 15 miles per hour. That's pretty darn fast. Then we see a video the other day that this push bike is running at 100 miles or 70 miles an hour. Okay? We don't know how long this is going to take. All right? So if you need for your personal experiences and whatever experiences you are experiencing right now, ladies and gentlemen, please go right ahead, but keep living. You have to keep doing what you need to do, honey, because I cannot guarantee you. I'm not one of these people, Erica G, that is going to come out here and tell you every single day it's going to be tomorrow. I can tell you what I told you. In fact, I told you a lot of things today. This is why I love this group, because the moment Wildflower contacted me, I knew it was the group that I could share. Okay? So I've shared a lot tonight. A lot. I'll probably get into trouble tonight, but that's okay, whatever. That's mayhem, Mel, for you. But understand this, honey, you got to keep living. If you need to have a passport, a Hungarian passport, by all means, darling, you go and do that, okay? So you need to go and do that. But I did see you in the chat, so I must have been sending out those energies for you to come up. Yes. So it's a big hello to you, my darling. That's quite okay, sweetheart. It is always an honour and pleasure to catch up with people. And thank you, JR, again, and Agent 99 for sharing as well. But it is 1 o'clock. I do apologise for the 10-minute delay, ladies and gentlemen, but I have got such a tight schedule. So Wildflower, if there's any other questions on the board at all before I go, honey?
Okay, that was a big video, you guys. I'm glad I got to play it. I did intel before. I think I did almost an hour intel. Then I started that. I did 2 short clips of Billy from yesterday and a few other ones today. So we'll take a break and then come back tonight at 5 and get off by 8 before the USA baseball game's on tonight for the gold medal round. So we'll go at 5. Probably won't start till about 8:30, but so we'll see you back in a few hours. Thanks, Kay and Tim coming in. Lucy must be busy again at work. There you go. God bless everybody. Love all. I'm pleased with the like. And stay safe, stay strong, keep the faith. And there we go. We'll see what happens on that fire that they had this morning in New York City there. I'll check on that. And I don't know. Chico will do for another show of Indo. We'll see you soon. Your screen.